Welcome back to Farmertorque, or nostalgic Farmertorque, really, because this is a story about my 5-year-old, well, not 5-year-old, 5 years ago I bought a Triumph 865 air-cooled Scrambler, and it was a project, quite a big project. It was really, well, a lot was changed. I kept it for 3 years, absolutely loved it, and if pushed, I can hear you saying, well, where is it in your pecking order of bikes, of all the bikes you've owned? I think that's the question you were asking. Do you know what? It might even be number one. We'll not go into that, but gives you an idea of where I hold it in the old memory banks, tugging the heartstrings, etc. As you know, I'm pretty enthusiastic about the current 1200 XE, which I own, and I'm really enjoying. And when I come back to it after having ridden other new bikes, every time I get on it, I like it more. But that came from this air-cooled project, and I absolutely love. Not so much as a scrambler off-road, which is what everybody thinks. I mean, the in thing at the moment is to go, oh, we've got to go around the world, or adventure bikes have got too heavy and you must go off-road, etc., etc. Well, I'll go into that about what you need to go off-road, etc., if you're going to try and do it. But yeah, on-road is where I really enjoy these things, which might sound a bit illogical, but the combination of long travel suspension, really well damped, so a really relaxed, comfy riding position, torquey engine, etc., is really appealing to me, and I suspect to a lot of people. But this is where it started on the Scrambler, something that made a great noise and had that, as I say, comfy, and it's just great to bundle around on. And something that you knew you were going quickly if you were going quickly. On the other hand, it was fabulous to ride slowly, whereas a load of modern bikes aren't. You go slowly and it feels like you're going slowly, and the bike's constantly telling you, I can go quicker than this. Yeah, let's go quicker then. Ooh, well, no, not that, go quicker than that. So there you go. As I mentioned, it's a project, and of course male projects, I don't know about females, male projects never get finished, do they? As my wife constantly reminds me about the house I recently built. So this one I didn't finish. There were quite a few cosmetic things that I would have done if I'd kept it, etc. It left with a heavy heart almost. I moved on to a T120, and obviously now you're gonna see this story. I'll probably be forced to show you that one as well. So that's the continuity of, and just a little teaser that project didn't quite match up to what I wanted it to be. So that gives you an idea of the affection for this one. And the 1200 is coming. That's a different story again. So T120 in the middle. Project not quite finished. I'll touch on bits in this vid. The reason I haven't shown it is because I wasn't happy with the footage. This is way before YouTube and, but one or two of you have been asking, what was it, what is it about it, etc. So I've edited the footage together as best I can. Hopefully you'll like it. When you're watching it, think of the old Sterling Moss comment, which constantly rings in my mind, that it's much more fun driving a slow car fast than a fast car slow. Now, exactly the same in my book, exactly the same comes with bikes, and so I mention that because this is obviously not the quickest bike, but strangely, and of all the bikes I've ridden, I never thought that this one wasn't quick enough, ever. Now, in a fast overtake or etc., etc., you could ride it quickly, but I often just tiggled around and just bumbled and enjoyed it. So grab yourself a coffee, or maybe something stronger. Get comfy, and hopefully try not to be too critical of some of the footage. Hopefully you'll enjoy the story. Welcome to my Triumph Scrambler. Bought it 3 years ago. Took a chance that we could turn it into a really rideable, hopefully stylish motorcycle. Now, it's not exactly original doing this sort of thing. Modifying Triumphs is well, it's now rampant with bark, bonification, etc. But it was surprising at the time 3 years ago. It wasn't that easy to find information about what should you do with the engine, what can you do with the suspension, etc, etc. And I'll come to that as I go through. So a quick run through on the spec. It's Triumph Twin Power Stage 1 engine, and that is basically air filter, airbox removal, or new airbox, freer flow air filter. Remapping, obviously, and air inclusion removal, CO2 sensor removal, out to this Triumph Tech 2-in-1 exhaust, which sounds fantastic. It really does, and it's unusual in my experience of, usually when you explain to someone, what does your bike sound like? You hear it, you stand by it, blip the throttle and go, oh wow. So many bikes can sound pretty good, if not amazing, standing by them, but when you're riding them with a helmet on, not so good. And but this one, no. For some reason, if anything, it sounds better when you're riding it. It's just right. It's loud enough, but it's not too loud. The right amount of pops and bangs coming down a hill. You really imagine it's a 60s something or other, playing with the carbs. Even starting it, it feels as if, you know, it stutters and splutters. You have to pull the so-called choke out. Not a choke, I know, because it's fuel injected, but it sort of does the similar thing. And it really does evoke memories of, playing with a manual choke, sliding it in a bit, stalling, starting up, splutter. In this modern day of electronics and fuel injection and management that just makes, start up with auto blips and then purring. Real pleasure, real joy. So, engine to exhaust. Suspension, K-Tech suspension. We went through several other manufacturers mucking about and doing some experiments to start with. And the more budget end. Now this is the top end stuff, up there with Öhlins, etc. But it's good and has transformed the bike. So these on the back, Razor, 4-wave adjustable, piggyback shocks, just brilliant. I've got them set fairly soft for road work. I've got fairly soft progressive springs in there. Can't remember what they are, 26, 18, 26, something like that. And on the front, I can't remember whether we ended up with 8.5 kilo front springs, again progressive, with the K-Tech internals. That comes around and makes it all, if I can come around here, adjustable. And with these, they don't look it, they're a bit basic on those adjustments, but you can do bump and rebound either side on the front, which is great because you can play about and set it up as you want. So, suspension, brakes. Yeah, the standard bike didn't have the brakes, really. So, on the back, brought the, again, with Triumph Twin Power bracket there, you can see their logo. Up and over the top, looks much better. they say keeps it out. It just looks much better. But what does help is the wavy disc. And then I use the back brake quite a bit, and this is quite a nice back brake. It's sort of usable, yeah, like it. On the front, things are a bit more serious. And again, Triumph Tech supplied Pre-Tech 4-pot caliper and the wavy disc again. I thought about this a fair bit with the looks, and I wasn't creating a classic bike, and so I think this, whilst it's a bit techie, but works. Most importantly, it improves the braking, and it's dramatically better than standard, so that's good, but it's not perfect. Nothing's perfect, of course, and the single front disc has always been a bit of a bone of contention with me, so yeah, but big improvement over standard. So engine, suspension, brakes, wheels. Yeah. This was a bit of soul searching. These are Doug Richardson's lightweight wheels, Talon hubs, aluminium rims, stainless steel spokes, and sealed to be tubeless. And they have these Michelin Pilot 4s on road tyres, deliberately chosen. Everyone will go on and say Scrambler, so it's got to have a Scrambler tyre. Well, if you compare knobbly tyres with these on the road, it's not even worth comparing. These are, for everyday road use, one of the better tyres. They're rated very well for wet grip and ride comfort, which you're always going to be limited on a twin shock bike for ride, and that's something that I think is really important with today's roads. So yeah, we've gone up. The front tyre, same size. On the back, we've come up to I think it went to a 4.5J. Might be wrong on that. But a 150 section tyre, which somehow looks right to my eyes and rides really well. So yeah, we're happy there. So I've just said light wheels. How much lighter? Well, on the back, we saved with the tyre, I think it was 3.3 kilos. The front less, but still, it was a healthy, I think 1 point something kilos, can't remember at the moment. But, and here's the but, it's a huge but. They transformed the bike. If you've never, as I hadn't, ridden the same bike with standard wheels and light wheels, oh my goodness, it's almost like a trade secret. Not cheap, but just the bike just feels so much better. That's something, you know, it's the centrifugal effect. Yes, it's 3 kilos lighter. Well, I would love to lose 3 kilos if we can arrange that. But that's a lot of that is flying around at amazing speed. So the gyroscopic effect, yeah, somebody smarter than I in the physics department could explain. I did read an article once where some professor, who obviously liked riding bikes, kicked off and saying that what's the most important area to improve your bike's performance. Now, you and I would say engine, and some would say suspension. One or two would say brakes. Well, that brakes are for wimps, obviously. I wonder how many would say wheels. Having experienced it in all this, and I don't want to belittle the rest, the engine, as I said, is a transformation. The suspension, yeah, so different. But maybe the wheels were the biggest difference. And that was a surprise. Looks-wise, well, no, we're still on practicality, I suppose. See, don't know about you. There's so many bikes out there that are fantastic. But after half an hour, you're thinking, ooh, not sure about this. So this was my adaptation. Got a local trimmer, do a really good job on it was the Triumph Comfort seat. And obviously trimmed in leather here, diamond stitching, quite like that. There was a first off attempt, and it had the sort of gel pads in there anyway, and I had the trimmer. We took a sort of guess and put an extra layer two extra layers, one firmer and one softer, sort of finishing layer of foam. And the result is it's much thicker seat. So I sit higher on it. I don't mind that. It's got about an 850 seat height, but I like that. Gives a nice, lovely riding position, in fact. But it's been really comfortable. How comfortable? I mean, yeah, all day comfortable. Comfortable. For a bike, it's terrific. So we like that. I know purists, if you're going around the classic route, will want to see a bench about an inch thick of rolled leather, which does look good. Your backside doesn't look so good after half an hour though. Tank, clean, coloured. Oh, Monza fuel cap, quite like that. Yep, that was a nice little touch. Colour, very simple, Old English white and black, seems to work. Colour is a very subjective thing. A lot of people comment, like it. I like it. I'm not sure, I don't know, would I do it again? Well, the new bike's going to be a pearlescent black as a predominant base paint. So anyway, so time for something different. Did I do anything else to it? Oh, tail tidy and indicators. Little indicators on the front here. Yeah, the standard indicators weren't the greatest to look at. And down the back here, after 2 attempts of a tail tidy, then settled with this bark. I think they call it their, I think it's their short rear fender. Comes with this LED light and, yeah, just right really. One point, and this is living here in rural Devon, you can see here, with most tail tidies, they look cool. In fact, go onto Bonification Bark, any modified bikes like this, and they often have this cut-off tail. Often the seat's much shorter than that to get that fabulous classic tracker scrambler look. And that's fine if you never ride it or only ride it in the desert, because ride it on any wet, muddy road in England and to say you'll get plastered is an understatement. So this, as you can see, just about stops. Well, it does stop mud flying up there. One lesson learnt though, the short front fender, and that many customers would think is a long fender, but that short fender, again, utterly useless and used to get plastered. That's a lesson learned, and on the new bike, that will be much lower. I think we're getting there. I never really liked all the dials and the mirrors. The mirrors were good, and was going to change to the Bark, do a lovely, blooming expensive headlight replacement with a speedo set into the thing here. So all this would go, and yeah, new bars, etc. Would have been nice. It was expensive, but I don't know, 3 years, and much as I like this thing, it was time to move on. What does it ride like? Well, I've done some video, poor quality video, which I'll add in a bit and give you an idea, but suffice to say, fantastic. It's been a pleasure to own. It's just not, there's no such thing as right, it's just a lovely bike to ride. And over the last 3 years, I've been lucky enough to have at various times 2 BMWs, a current RT and a GSA, and also KTM 1190, and I'm always riding different bikes, so yeah, I've got a fair idea what the latest stuff is, and you know, quick stuff, comfy stuff. Always came back to this.
Well, time to say goodbye to my 3-year-old Triumph Scrambler. Can't believe it's 3 years, and I'm slightly apprehensive that it's being replaced. This has been a big project, loads of changes that I'll tell you about, but most of all, gosh, it's been fun. Tuned engine, K-Tech suspension, dear old Doug Richardson lightweight wheels. Well, they're black actually. Doug Richardson's black wheels. Black light wheels. Well, whatever. They're light. The back one was a good 3 kilos lighter than standard. Oh, what a difference. Custom seat that I'm not perched on, sunk into. It's comfy. Bit of a paint job. Well, it's got paint. And oh, brakes. Yeah, 4-pot brakes on the front, wavy discs on the back, and a twin power up and over bracket on the top. It's better on the top. Well, it looks better. Don't know whether it brakes. It definitely brakes better with the wavy discs and whatever pads there are. I can't remember what the pads are. Used to know. So brakes, engine power. Good afternoon. Oh, a lovely smell of freshly cut grass. And oh, exhaust. That goes with the engine. What did I say about the engine? Chant twin power parts again. CO2 sensors removed. Air inclusion kit off. It's got a free-flowing air filter and a different air intake. Again, all Triumph twin power. Really good, helpful lads there. And a remap, proper, supposedly rolling road tested, and I can believe it. It really, I can't say too much about the engine. Well, I probably could, and no one would believe me. But it's just fantastic. Transformation from standard. It obviously isn't a quick bike. I think we started off with a few horsepower and ended up with a few more. We've got more torques. Well, that wasn't difficult because we started off with maybe 2 torques, and we've now got, oh, how many we got? Let's see. There we go. Oh, nearly enough. Oh, enough. Just as I was caught out then, it just keeps pulling. It's not a slow bike. Patently, it is relatively, but it's quick enough. And you can nearly thrash it. Which is rare on the roads. In fact, you can thrash it. And boy, is that fun. Even now, at not many miles per hour, and just tiggling along, it's great. It's sort of like, I feel that this bike, well, for me, it captures, or see, let's tiggle past slowly. There we are. Whoops, try and sort the gears out. Okay. Yeah, where was I? My Scrambler. For me, this bike, it's a little bit like if you ask a kid to draw a horse. Sorry. Paul the postman. Did I say horse then? I meant, it's a bit like if you ask a kid to draw a house, you'd probably get the sort of chocolate box cottage, a square, door in the middle at the front, 4 windows and a roof. It's sort of, you know, standard little house, cottagey thing, whatever. this bike follows that really. It's what I have in my imagination as a, it's going to sound stupid, proper motorcycle. Nothing fancy on it. It looks like a motorcycle should, whatever that is, and sounds like one too. So yeah, all's good. I think, was that mirror signal manoeuvre, or was that manoeuvre look, stick my hand out? Yeah. I think that's what they describe as a motorcycling. And then a guy on a Triumph Bonneville came trundling past. Sounded great. And looked at my friend and said, he is just having, you can tell he's just having a great time.